That's all we talk about is Lee Zeldin and how important it is that you get into office in order to save New York. You know, that's the key. Can I start?
Sure.
Okay. So what I wanted to talk about was things that are people that you don't usually get questioned about because it's unconventional. I think this community, our community, not just here, but the Orthodox community in general, could hopefully push you over the edge. I don't understand why it's so close. I don't know. Can you do your consultants give you any indication about whether it's true or not that the race is so close?
It is.
Well, you should
extremely
be ahead, considering what's
I
going on.
agree.
There.
That sounds fantastic.
Considering
We're
what's
definitely
going on
not in
down
this
the
race
street.
to come in second.
No, absolutely not. So, in terms of things that are relevant specifically to our community, first thing I wanted to address was this business with the Board of Regents and their involvement in the curriculum in the yeshivas. You know, yeshivas sometimes they dance to a different tune in terms of the education they dispense to their students and to the families that demand that. So my question is essentially, I mean, you told me when we spoke on the phone that your mother taught in yeshiva many years ago in Brooklyn.
Yeshiva Ratzad.
Ratzad, and you said it was Canarsie, was it?
They've closed. As far as the exact location, I don't remember exactly. I know, I believe Yeshiva Ratzad was located next to the cemetery in Canarsie at one point. I'm not sure if that was at the time where my mother was teaching. But Ratzad at one point was there. You know, as yeshivas move around.
So, I mean, so the Board of Regents voted unanimously to get involved in the curriculum of the yeshivas. So the question is, what can a governor do to impact on that, if not reverse it?
I totally oppose the substantial equivalency push. I, as governor, would have been doing everything in my power to stop it while this push was going on. I opposed the substantial equivalency push today. I'll continue to oppose it in the future. I believe that all forms of education should always aspire to be doing a better job for students. No one's ever going to be perfect. But unfortunately, what wasn't getting told in this story was the value of a yeshiva education, understanding and learning right from wrong, the life that gets lived of following the law, right? The high attendance rates, the continuing education when people are done, how they continue to learn for a very long time, far more than what you see on average in other forms of education. So unfortunately, the attack on yeshiva education was one where they were trying to identify only negatives, and they didn't want to say anything at all that was good and positive. I think there's a misunderstanding of yeshiva education. I would also say that Governor Hochul was awful during this process. She showed zero leadership. When she was asked about this, that was a great opportunity to be talking about what is good about a yeshiva education. She said, when asked about it the day the Board of Regents voted, she didn't want to weigh in because it was getting too hot. And she also said it was outside the purview of the governor. The governor is allowed to have an opinion. The governor is allowed to state that opinion publicly. And the governor has the ability to move public opinion by stating that belief. So Kathy Hochul made a political calculation to allow the Board of Regents to roll the yeshiva education, and as a consequence, the Board of Regents unanimously passed their attack. And it's something that I thought was absolutely the wrong path forward for the state.
It's a big advantage to you in terms of that community, which is a very substantial community, in terms of, you know, how they vote, generally speaking, on the local issues. I think it pushes a considerable amount of votes, hopefully, your direction.
One newspaper in the Satmar community had a front page that said war.
Yeah.
It was an act of war against yeshiva.
In a sense, it is. So, as one of two Jewish members of the Republican Party in Congress, what does it mean to you to become governor of New York in a state with such a large Jewish population? Are you conscious of that? Does it weigh on you?
I would be the first Jewish Republican governor here in the state, and the first Jewish governor since Spitzer. And I plan on serving a full term, right? That is successful and without resignation and scandal and arrests. I believe that there's a lot to do to combat anti-Semitism on our streets, in our schools, and in the halls of government. You've seen at times the right path pursued by governors. I remember at one point, about 6 years ago, Andrew Cuomo had signed off on an executive order to combat the BDS movement. Yet fast forward to just over a year ago with Ben & Jerry's and Unilever, all of a sudden, because the pendulum has swung so much in the Democratic Party, while they did the right thing in exacting this executive order in the first place, they didn't actually follow it the way that they should have. So I believe that there's a lot to do. You see it inside the City University of New York, Jewish professors who are leaving a job that they love because they're under attack, parents and students wanting to attend a commencement service for the CUNY School of Law, having to listen to a known anti-Semite give a commencement address. We have a lot of work to do.
So